Well, hello. My name's Hirsh Gardner. Primarily the drummer in the band New England, and unprimarily, is that a right word? Solo artist. And we're here in my beautiful little studio in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Grew up in Toronto, Canada, and what a great music town that was. Moved to Boston and went to school at Berklee College of Music, and after that was one of the founding members of the group New England. Went on tour, toured the world, made a bunch of albums, started a producing career, and then a solo career, getting out and playing guitar on stage, which was absolutely fantastic. Very scary for me, but it was cool. And still doing that, having a lot of fun with that, and we're getting ready to release the new solo album, My Brain Needs a Holiday. Yes, it does. The album is called My Brain Needs a Holiday, and my brain definitely needs a holiday. There's so much clamor in the world today and so much craziness, and when I'm in the studio, it's just like it's vacation time for me. So I really enjoy getting away from the outside world and hunkering down in here for hours, sometimes days. So that's kind of like my vacation time. And My Brain Needs a Holiday is a song that I composed with Jimmy Waldo, my partner in New England, and the title just fit. It worked, and it's a great groove, great song. It's got a great vibe. I like to inject a little bit of humor and some craziness into some of my songs, and this song has it all. So, My Brain definitely needs a holiday. The people involved in the album. Boy, there's a lot of my friends on this record. I love working with talented people. Jimmy Waldo, my partner in New England, graced me with some amazing keyboard parts, Hammond organ, real Mellotron parts. He's got a super piano vibe going on in the song Diamond Moon. I cannot forget to mention Joe Filoni, one of my best friends, an amazing guitarist. And whenever he did solos or parts to the songs, I would take them home and listen to them, and my mind was just blown. Another amazing guitar player was Ron Thal, Bumblefoot, from Guns N' Roses fame, and moved on to do amazing stuff. And Ron is a friend and New England fan, from what I hear, and we hooked up. I sent him an email and said, "Hey, do you want to play on my record?" And he said, "Yeah." I was blown away. Sent him a track, and a couple of days later, he sent me back the guitar tracks for "Get It Back," which is when you hear that song, you'll know why I love it. Jody Frawley is another amazing guitarist who is playing on the record. Let's see, who else do I have? Joe Madari, a friend of mine who lives in Seattle, is playing bass on a couple of tracks. Stephen Baxter, who is the man who builds the Dudicus basses. Those are amazing. And so we've got Steve playing on the track, and it's just too many to mention. So we'll end it with that. But there's a lot of great players on the record. Well, Lost in the Darkness is the lead-off song on the album, and I think Lost in the Darkness is a very much New England influenced song. Jimmy Waldo threw out some great ideas. You've got the real typical New England background vocals going on. It's a real driving song, which is why I wanted it first on the album. And Joe Filoni's on guitar and does some amazing slide work throughout. So that's Lost in the Darkness tonight. Kicks ass, man. Look out. It was just fun. The groove is really infectious. It's kind of an up-tempo shuffle. I've got some loops going on in there that are really effective. And lyrically, I wanted to have a lot of fun with this song, and I wanted a title that was kind of really different and a little bit off off kilter, but I think My Brain Needs a Holiday kind of says it all as to where my brain is at right now. Get It Back is wow, what a great song that is. It's it's a real departure for me. It's a very industrial metal type of feel. I've got some loops going on in the background. The drum track is really infectious. It's got an amazing synth bass part. And Ron Thal, Bumblefoot, is playing on that song and just kills the intro. Essentially what I did is I sent him the song and I said the first 1 minute of the song will all be you. I want dive bombs from hell. I want your amazing guitar chops shown off. He did such an amazing job with that. Get It Back kind of fits into what's going on politically now in the world. I mean, I think that we all feel like, a lot is being taken from us and we want to get it back. So let's get it back. We talked earlier about this album is eclectic and it's got a bunch of different vibes going on, and I think Diamond Moon really marks that on the album. It's a total ballad. I would say it's almost like a John Waite, Phil Collins type of a vibe, and it's a really sweet ballad. It's very tender. It's got great keyboard parts by Jimmy Waldo. So I think that when you hear this song for the first time, you might go, "Oh, where's this going?" But it's pretty cool. When it comes up on the track and I'm listening to it, I really get into it because it is different, and I think being different is really, really cool.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, do me, stick it to me. I mean, you gotta have fun. You've got to have a smile on your face when you're in the studio. So it's like, back in the day, New England, we were honored. We got to play with AC/DC, and honest to God, they were one of the most incredible rhythm sections that I'd ever seen. I would sit on the side of the stage and just watch the rhythm section and listen to what they were doing, and it was all so simple, but so effective, and that's the vibe for Do Me, Do Me. We can talk about the lyrics later on, but they're fun, and you've got to listen to that song. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it's just something that I had a blast with, and I love playing drums on that song. It was pretty cool. Shadows is a very interesting song. It's the last song that I wrote for the album, and the reason I think it's a little bit different is because I co-wrote that with my co-engineer, Ulf Kilta. Yeah, that's really his name. And, we were just sitting in the studio one day and we were coming up with some ideas, and I picked up the Strat and was playing some chords, singing a melody. He came up with a lyric that I really liked. So 20 minutes later, we had a song. And we started piling some different instrumental parts into it. And my buddy Jay Rushwell, you've got to hear this guy play guitar. He's absolutely amazing. Came in, and once again, I had somebody come in and interpret my real simple guitar part and turn it into a real guitar part. And that made it so much fun for me. Love the song. It's really, really different. It's got that synthesizer thing going on throughout the song, which reminds me of Pete Townsend Who type of a vibe, and slowly became one of my favorite songs on the record. So I hope you love it too. It's funny. I was at home one afternoon and in my studio, and what do you do when you're at home on a Sunday afternoon and you're in the studio? I went on YouTube and started just watching some videos, and the song came on. I immediately knew what the song was, and it was Gary Brooker, the singer in Procol Harum, singing Whiter Shade of Pale. And it's a live version. If you can catch this version, you ought to check it out. It's pretty amazing. And he's singing with a full orchestra and choir. The performance he gave was just unbelievable. And 20 minutes later, I was over at the piano and I had recorded the basic tracks for this song. It excited me so much that when I do somebody's cover, it's like a tribute to them for me. It's like I've got to do this, and I've got to thank them for putting out this song. It's probably one of the most amazing songs ever written. I had a lot of fun with it. Joe Filoni played guitar on it, and I mean his interpretations on that song are just fantastic. Great song. I'm really, really glad that's on my record. Proud to have it on there. Yeah, if you need to talk is, it's a great phrase that I came up with. And, we know a lot of people who, are sort of walking through the shadows in their lives. And we know a lot of people who've, had loved ones or best friends pass away. And I think that spoke very clearly to me about having to say to people, listen, if you need to talk, you come my way. And that's the main hook in the song. That's the message. It's very giving, and I want people to know that, hey, we're all open to hear your story, and we'll be glad to help you and move you forward. But that's the sensitive side of it. The rock and roll side of it is that Richie Rano from the group Stars played guitar on that song. He killed it. People that listen to that song are just astounded by the guitar solo. I'm really proud to have Richie playing with me on that record. I hope you like If You Need to Talk. Love is real simple lyric. I don't think I'm going to win any awards for that lyric, but I wasn't intending on. That song actually started off as an experiment. The whole first 3/4 of that song is an a cappella approach, and I love Queen. I always have. I love Mike Stone's production with Queen and Roy Thomas Baker. They have multi-layered vocals. So what I've got going on here is basically a 5-part harmony with about 48 to 60 voices singing the first 3/4 of the song, and then of course there's my lead vocal. And once again, it started off as an experiment, but it just sort of transcended and kept on growing. I ended up loving the song, even with the real simple lyric, and I think that the real simple lyric works in that environment of vocal cacophony, I guess you might want to call it. But it's a really interesting song. I hope you all love that one too. Well, Sister Jane, boy, that's a real interesting song. That song is a song that was written by the band Tai Fong, who probably no one has heard of. We were on tour in Japan, and one of my best buddies in Japan, Hiroshi Kaneko, who was also the head of A&R for my record label, Marquis Avalon, we were just hanging out for the whole week that we were there. He's such a great guy. And we were talking about different songs and, great performances. And he mentioned this song, and he said, Hirsh, he said, you'd be fantastic singing this song. So when I got back to Boston, I looked it up. It took me a while to find it, but I found Sister Jane. And it was this really kind of like sleepy ballad with this amazing lead vocalist. And towards the end of the song, with the keys modulating and with this guy singing way up in the stratosphere, there's no way I could sing that song the way he did. So, and I wrote it and recorded it as a ballad first, and it just wasn't happening. So what I did is I infused my heavy rock, metal drums, some screamy guitars, and that turned into the Sister Jane song that we have today. And so Hiroshi, thanks a lot, man. That was such a great idea to do that song, because it is, one of my favorite tunes and overall performances on the record. So Sister Jane rocks. Well, the difference between My Brain Needs a Holiday and Wasteland, there's several differences. Number one, Wasteland for Broken Hearts was recorded back in 2002. And the way that album came to be, my partner Gary Boris at our label, GB Music, had a couple of tracks that I had been working on. And we were negotiating our record deals with New England and our Japanese label, Marquis Avalon. And Gary ended up sending a couple of my songs to Hiroshi Kaneko, who was the A&R guy at the label. And Hiroshi heard my songs and he loved them, and he said, we want to sign Hirsh to a record deal. So about a week later, Gary calls me and says, hey man, you got a record deal, you got to do an album. So, which was not really a terrible thing to hear on a phone call. So for the next 8 or 9 months, I just worked on my album, and that's how Wasteland for Broken Hearts came to be. It was the first solo album that I ever recorded from beginning to end. So it was a pretty scary experience doing that for the first time. But it was a labor of love. So I had a great time. I've got great memories about recording those songs in my little home studio. And My Brain Needs a Holiday. So obviously, it's many years later. So here we are in the studio, which is where I recorded this album. I hope I've matured musically and become a better songwriter, producer, player. I was able to get a lot of amazing musicians to play with me on the record, like Jimmy Waldo and Bumblefoot, Joe Filoni, John Butcher, Joel Burns, a good friend of mine, and Jay Rushwell. So, I was really lucky to have all those folks contribute. So I guess those are the main differences from the two albums. Quite a bit of time between the two. Hey, listen, you gotta check out my new album, gang. www.hirshgardner.com, gbmusic.com. It's available on CD Baby. It's available on iTunes. You can download it. You can buy the whole CD with an amazing cover and fantastic graphics and artwork. So, here you go. Yeah! All right.